Hello, welcome to Loremaster's Lair. I am your Loremaster, here today for another guide video. In Starfinder next month, we'll be getting a profile for the deity Triune. So the question came to me, do I wish to talk about one of the three faces of Triune, Brigh, now, or at another time? And I decided that if I did wait to do everything Triune all at once, that would be 4 guide videos in a single go. And as much as I like Pathfinder's deities, that seems like a little much even for me. So Brigh now, Triune's other faces another time. So let's get the show started, shall we? But the question which needs to be answered first is, where can you find information on Brigh? As per the usual, the basic designs can be found in Gods and Magic, the book for both editions. The fine details arise when you take a close look at Part 2 of the Iron God's adventure path, titled Lords of Rust. We of course were given a carbon copy in the book Inner Sea Faiths. There are extra bits and pieces in the Faiths of Balance book, and extra perspective for those who look into plain adventures. Finally, just to add a finishing touch with a few side tangents, we have some insight from Construct Handbook, Horror Adventures, and the Dark Archives. The origins of Brigh are unknown, even to her worshippers. Some legends tell that she was once a construct created by just like any other, but eventually rose to become a deity. Another story states she was a human scientist who excelled in all fields. Due to this, she was able to perfectly replace any part of her body with bronze work, eventually exorcising all organic flesh from her body. Regardless, she now stands as a mechanically perfect form. When she appears, Brigh takes one of two forms. The first is a slender human woman made entirely of clockwork. The other is a woman with unsettling amounts of symmetry in her features, wearing a clockwork armor and with a bronze skull cap. It is unknown which of these is a true form, if either actually is. The clockwork one has the ability to open up the cavity of her chest, which always holds some wondrous mechanism, while the humanoid one can transfer part of her armor into clockwork weaponry. In art, she usually depicted in her mechanical form as a bronze mask, or, by gnomes, as a mechanical gnome. Brigh is a deity who holds the domain over intelligent constructs, as one might guess from her own clockwork form. At least when it comes to native Galarian deities, she is the one who appeals to constructs the most. She teaches patience, that great breakthroughs cannot be accomplished in a single day, or in some instances a single lifetime, and one should always be ready to build upon the works of another, reaching breakthroughs they missed, and discovering uses previously hidden. And yes, this includes devices that cause destruction. Regardless of purpose, progress is progress. Which brings us to our first side tangent, the part of the show where things get lively. So, intelligent constructs worship Brigh. But what kind of varieties do we have for those? Well, basics for constructs, we have animated objects, clockwork, robots, automatons, homunculi, colossi, and our first side tangent, golems. Golems are artificial humanoids given life, usually under the beck and call of their masters. So that being said, the most famous of legends, the original Spanish story of a stone golem and the famed flesh golem of Frankenstein, did both end up turning against their creators. To give you a short list of golems which you might be interested to add to your game, here is a list from weakest to strongest, which also shows just how diverse these creatures are. We have wax golems, sentient wax golems, Triune golems, junk golems, mass golems, ice golems, wood golems, blood golems, flesh golems, glass golems, bone golems, marrowstone golems, sand golems, alchemic golems, core golems, equine bone golems for all you horse girls out there, clay golems, lead golems, magnetite golems, stone golems, crystal golems, robot golems, pantheons, which are tomb guardian statues, sun glass golems, clockwork golems, obsidian golems, everyone's favorite, the fossil golem, iron golems, fiend infused golems, brass golems, shadow golems, Inubix golems, gold golems, cannon golems, dragonhide golems, mytho golems, Inostone golems, the temple guarding behemoth golem, guillotine golems, vidrium golems, nocro golems, adamantine golems, the quintessence golem, and finally, the Nexian quantinum golem. As you can see, some people just have too much time on their hands. A majority of followers of Brigh are those who craft, preferring the company of tools and machines to other people. They across the fields to include blacksmiths, jewelers, toy makers, gem cutters, alchemists, and inventors. But other forms of craft, and dare I say most forms of craft, can be occasionally found in worshippers. When it comes to what she wants of her followers, keep experimenting, I guess. It's all about innovation. Everything else is just appendix. Like, for example, marriage. She does not care beyond the fact that intelligence is often inherited, and children make good apprentices to finish any work left incomplete in a single lifetime. And while we are looking into worshippers of the artificial, this is also time to look at our second side tangent. Not a religion, not a cult, but a secret society. The exarch of the infinite clock are those who believe understanding of mathematics and science can give one further skills of magic. And one way to do this is to replace parts of a brain with arcane clockwork. The goal to raise one's power to near godlike levels, or maybe to have them become a god themselves. As one might imagine, the surgeons, engineers, and mages prefer to steal people off the streets over doing a test run on themselves. And there is allegedly a high body count. Though there is always whispered rumors of successes we all hope are not true. While the worshippers of Brigh are researchers, the priests are expected to devote their entire lives to research. A few priests take up projects which require field work, but most spend most days within their labs. Some others make money through the selling of their inventions, which brings them in direct conflict with quacks and conmen who ruin the good name of peddlers with their junk. But most priests keep to themselves, letting few others in. Those who refuse to let any in, even refusing to prefer a love life over their research, are said to be married to the whisper. There are only a few temples to Brigh, most of them built like workshops and set up to sell crafted items. The High Clockmother or Clockfather is usually the most knowledgeable at location, and priests usually work to gain patrons for their experiments. Shrines tend to be much simpler, being set up in personal workshops of worshippers. All you willing to do is hang a bronze mask or large gear above your workbench, and you're all set. In some of these more public places, it's customary to leave an offering of thanks, or an invention you cannot get to work, in hopes another worshipper can. Brigh's realm is the citadel of resplendent clockwork, a Gothic-style tower standing 2,000 feet high, crafted of stone and metal. The inside is a labyrinth of clockwork which changes as Brigh desires. Cogs, colored glass, and spinning wheels make up most of the interior, with one wrong step easily able to take off anyone's head. The only entrance is through a portal hidden within Octon, and Brigh is only known to interact with secretive individuals. What projects they walk towards remains secret. Now it's time to throw in Side Tangent 3, Colossi. These are similar to Golems, except much larger. They, too, are made of a variety of different materials, with a few commonalities between the creatures, the most noticeable being the ability to change between two forms. We have several examples from 1E, not yet in 2E, that I know of. So let's go through them one by one. We have the Flesh Colossus, made of many bodies, with the ability to split into 4 flesh golems. We have a Wood Colossus, which can transform into a large manor house, or a home away from home. We have Stone Colossus, which can transform into a keep, to give options over your home away from home. We have Iron Colossus, with the ability to turn their legs into the tracks of a tank to crush all in their way. We have a Gold Colossus, which is better suited for the laughing salesman next time he comes. And finally, we have the Sphinx Colossus, which can disguise itself as merely a statue of a sphinx. Now for the typical odds and ends of all of these faith videos, starting with where the faith is strongest. It of course has a presence in Alcantara, where it's spread to the manor wastes at large, as well as Nex. Of course, the advanced tech in Numeria would attract her faithful as well as the nations where clockwork technology is common. Absalom, of course, has a temple right in the middle of the Coins District. And Juma, which I do not know why they specifically have a temple there, but the locals probably see it as a grand opportunity for money. Holidays are less about Brigh and more about the anniversaries of great scientific discoveries, like the rites of Augustana and the math and engineering necessary to build large ships. Though that said, they make fireworks for Serena's holidays, and help count taxes with Amadors. Brigh's holy book is Logic of Design, which reads more like a textbook of stonemasonry, metallurgy, physics, and electricity than an actual holy book. The book is revised often to add in new knowledge and to excise parts which have been shown to lead to heresy. For relationships with others, Brigh is big on free pursuit, so it is not like she has any rules of who her faith does or does not interact with. She is a crafter, so her and Shaylin have something to talk about. Same with Desna and their shared love of discovery. Toreg is a blacksmith, Nogabur is an alchemist, and Kaelin likes to brew. Gorm has little regard for the weaponsmiths who work for and worship Brigh, and she hates Rovagard because of the whole, destruction thing. Basically, find a deity who creates and is part of their profile, and she gives them gold stars. For divine servitors, first we have Kerpek, an alchemist with bronze hands and a steel back. He knows all about the construction of constructs, and he considers himself an ambassador between flesh and metal. And the only other one is Brigh's divine servitor and herald is the Latin mechanism, a living siege engine in the shape of an insect who protects all constructs. The creature can both destroy a castle and build another one, perfect for both kinds of jobs. And now let's finish off today's video with our last side tangent. As we are talking on a deity over the artificial, and I enjoy horror, let us look at another form of corruption from 1E that has yet to find its way to 2E. Prometheans. Prometheans are brought about by dangerous experiments to replace a body part with something artificial and experimental. And usually experimental. And often unsafe way. This causes the body to start rotting, potentially requiring more modifications to continue on, while the replacement slowly eats away at the soul. Slowly, one's emotions break down to only rage, and they require more and more technology to live. This eventually reaches the point where the soul leaves the body, as they no longer count as a living being, but just another construct. Good thing Brigh was more responsible for her modifications. And that brings us to the end of today's episode on all things artificial. Next week we finally do something which I have not done in a while. Do a video on a country. It's been months, and the ones I did in November were mostly an excuse to talk on deities than on the country themselves. Though I could also see it as a preamble for celebrating Paizo's next big release. Either way, see you there.